In this world today, there are many ways to fall from grace and to go astray. We should realize that in our lives we can make a change for brighter days.
Islam is here to guide us all,
to light our way and break our fall.
Allah is here
for you and I,
morning to night.
He is light
upon light. La, la.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الذين آمنوا وتطمئن قلوبهم بذكر الله الذين آمنوا وتطمئن قلوبهم بذكر الله ألا بذكر الله تطمئن قلوب. In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. Those who believe and whose hearts are set at rest by the remembrance of God. Verily, indeed, in the remembrance of God, do hearts find rest. Dear brothers and sisters, dear respected guests, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May the peace and blessings of God be upon you. My name is Gabriel. I'll be your host tonight. And inshallah, we are very happy to have you here. And we hope that you enjoy this presentation. About today's topic, it is a very deep topic. And I want from the bottom of my heart, and I know from the organizers, from the bottom of their hearts, to give us not only your mind and your ears, but your hearts. Because tonight's topic is related to the hearts. And as I just recited in the verse, verily in the remembrance of God, do the hearts find rest or tranquility. Peace of mind in a chaotic world. Peace of heart in a chaotic world is tonight's topic. We look around ourselves. We look around the world. We look on the news, TV. Everywhere you look around, there's chaos. People are disagreeing. People are arguing. People are fighting. People are at war. The love that should be between people seems to be missing. The peace of mind and tranquility that is part of the very human nature seems to be shadowed by the chaotic world, by the chaotic events around us. And we wonder why. Why is that? People are trying to find different solutions. People are trying to take different paths. But what is the real path that would give us peace of mind, peace of heart, tranquility, and allow us to pass through these times, these turbulations, and at the same time maintain the integrity that we have been blessed with, and that is humanity. My dear brothers and sisters, first and foremost, I'd like to thank the organizers of this event for this platform, for us to be able to bring you this amazing program. would like to thank the Islamic Affairs and Charitable Activities of Dubai for allowing us to do this. Thank you. We'd like to thank also Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum for giving the platform for such events to take place, for people to come to dialogue, people to come to present their views, for people to be able to sit and discuss matters and issues and understand each other. Thank you. Tonight's presenter, and it is with great happiness that I'm introducing him again, and it's a great honor, Yusuf Estes. Yusuf Estes is loved by both young and old alike, children and adults of all faiths. They delight to hear him entertain while presenting to them the pure message of Islam in a very simple way. They call him the funny sheikh. He was raised in a strong Christian home in Texas, and he became a very successful store owner, music store owner, as well as TV show owner, and used his music skills to preach the gospel. He served as a delegate to the United Nations Peace Summit for Religious Leaders, as well as a U.S. federal chaplain from 1994 until 2000. His history, his story, priests and preachers enter Islam, is truly amazing. You both laugh and cry at the same time. And you can look that up yourself. He has many websites in simple English explaining Islam to non-Muslims, even to Muslims, such as www.yusufestes.com. He is the founder, the director of Guidus.tv, which is a station, a satellite station presenting programs on Islam in simple English language, allowing the English speaker to understand the message of Islam without any misconceptions, and taking the message from the pure sources, as Islam is pure and Islam is simple. His lectures in universities, institutions, military and public venues are for all faiths, Muslim, Christian, Hindu, Buddhist, Jewish alike. Many preachers and priests are very impressed with Sheikh Yusuf Estes' way of presenting a fresh and enlightening picture of the world's fastest growing religion, and that is Islam. Yusuf Estes uses the latest in website technologies, DVDs, CDs, in conveying the message of Islam and encouraging others to pass it on. And that is the peace and surrender and obedience to God. Yusuf Estes helps many new people to understand Islam, to come to Islam. His talks are full of humor, while answering many of the harsh attacks that people raise against Islam. He makes it very fun and easy to understand. And inshallah, tonight we'll have a very enjoyable program. Again, we thank you so much. And before I bring Yusuf Estes, again, my name is Gabriel and I'll be your host tonight. After Yusuf Estes' lecture, we will have a short break followed by Q&A. There are 3 mics set, one to my right, straight and to my left. This is for brothers, gents, ladies, brothers. Okay, so following the presentation, we'll have Q&A, and we'll give you more details about that as the program continues. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, dear respected guests, shuyukh, please welcome Yusuf Estes.
بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد محمد عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. الحمد لله رب العالمين هو الذي جعلنا مسلمين. Did you think this was going to be in English? My name's Yusuf. Can you say Yusuf? First time. You got it right. All these years my wife still pronounces it useless. Could be a speech impediment. I'm not real sure about that. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, it's great to be with all of you here in Dubai. This is a good chance for all of us to come together for the sake of getting true knowledge out about a very important subject. And what a better place to do it than Knowledge Village. Make sense? And along the way, they said, let's talk about the chaos that's happening around the world and how we can deal with that as Muslims in the West, of all places. We were just talking about that with the folks from the Dubai television. And one of the things that we were talking about is, suppose we took a microphone and a camera, went out to the streets, you know, like Chicago, New York, Miami, something like this, you know. And you walk up to people and you say, look, I want you to finish this sentence for me. I'm going to give you just a short little sentence. Give me one word, the end of the sentence. You choose the word. All Muslims are... Now, what do you think they're going to say? Peace-loving individuals? Maybe not. Or ask them, Islam is... Finish the sentence. Islam is... Yeah. Yet at the same time, and I'm talking about the news, today's news, because we have a news website that we've been running for the past several years, presenting news from our point of view, news that we need to know about. And one of the things that's in today's news right now is about a man, an elder man, who is charged with, I forget how many cases of rape. Many cases of rape. And they said likely would be a lot more, except it's past the statute of limitations. In other words, after so many years, you can't bring it up against somebody, no matter what they did, except, I think, murder. And this man, very old, imagine this, cut down on the number of rapes after he had his last heart attack. And this morning they found him dead from suicide. Well, if that was all it was, that's not even mainstream news anymore, except the fact that his son is also being charged in a murder case of his girlfriend being strangled to death in the bathtub after she told him she was going to leave him. And the question that they have, and this is all the talk shows, you know, the talking heads, here's the question they have. Whether or not, this is very important, whether or not this is a genetic thing, you know, that it runs in the family. That's pretty chaotic to me, to imagine that that's the only thing you care about in the face of how many women have been violated out here. What about that? And what about the family of the victims, especially this girl who's just been murdered? The direction that our news is taking bothers me a lot, because it seems like they, maybe intentionally, maybe unintentionally, they missed the main point. And let me give you a couple other examples. They're hitting a lot closer to home. When we find in some places in the West that if a lady is seen following the Sharia, well, a man for that matter, they want to arrest them. Have you heard about this? Murfreesboro, Tennessee, just a couple weeks ago, tried to pass a law. If anybody is following Sharia, they could be arrested. And we were wondering right away, what do they mean by that? In other words, if I pray 5 times a day, I can go to jail? And why all of a sudden Sharia is a bad word to them? What's going on with that? Now you can have a long beard, you know, because all the hillbillies and all the guitar bangers, okay, they got long beards, so that's okay. That's not a big problem. But if a lady wants to cover up, especially if she wants to cover her face, okay, that's it. That's it, man. What are you covering your face for? You better have a doctor's written excuse to cover your face. Huh? But if she wants to uncover stuff, hey, that's all right. In fact, we like to encourage that a little bit. And I really feel strongly about this because I grew up with women livers all around me, okay? I was raised by my mom and sisters. So I understand their point of view. And one of the things that really bothers me is the way that men try to sell women on the idea that, hey, what we're doing is good for you. Uncover some more stuff. It's good for you. Selling them makeup, clothes, whatever you wore last month, it's no good anymore. You got to have new stuff to show off, to show off, to show off. Because if you don't look right, we're not going to approve of you. Everything for a woman has to be her look. She has to look good or she's an outcast. That's it. Imagine that. And God forbid that she should have any kind of infirmity. Something like, let's say she is missing one eye. Okay, that's it. Or that she limps when she walks. Ugh. Because it's all about looks, nothing else. Nothing else. Is that a problem? I think that is maybe one of the major problems that we've got in the West, is judging people only on this. And it's so superficial. It's worse than superficial. It's artificial. And they joke about it. Like it's a funny subject. But at the same time, they get real serious if a woman chooses to cover herself up. Now, at the same time, there are legitimate complaints against what some Muslim men do. There's no doubt about that. If a man is beating up his wife or family, obviously that's not in Islam to start with. But it shouldn't have been associated with religion, but rather the lack of it or in opposition to it in reality. So from our point of view as Muslims, we're seeing something today that we have a difficulty in relating back to the time of our Prophet ﷺ. Almost, well, in fact, anything and everything you want to know about how to live as a human being is covered by Islam. In the Quran, the Hadith, the teachings, the things that our scholars have shown us how to use what's been sent down from Almighty Allah, how you can recognize how to use that to live as a better contributing citizen in your community. We know that. Alhamdulillah, that we have it. And in some places I visit, you actually see people putting it together and doing something with it, moving forward, progressing, using what they call modernity. I don't know if that's a real word or not, but they use it. And in any case, we see this in some places and Muslims following Islam right alongside of it. The problem is the way the West has distorted this picture to the extent that words like Sharia, Islam, and Muslim bring bad vibes even before we get into the subject. You can't even get into the subject without somebody being upset already. At the time of our Prophet ﷺ, there were those who very much denied the message with which he came. There's no doubt about that. As a matter of fact, you'll probably remember this better than I will, because I'm reading a lot of this stuff in English. But I think it was right after the message comes to the Prophet ﷺ that he calls all the tribes out. You know, when he stands on the little knoll or the little small hill, whatever, and he starts calling, Ya Bani so-and-so, Ya Bani Fulan, come on guys. And all the tribes are coming out. Okay, what's going on? What's going on? Because the way he was doing it is this exact same way that when there's an emergency, you know, a big emergency, maybe somebody's coming to attack you, right? So they were out there ready. What's going on? And who's calling us? Oh, it's Muhammad. And look at the title they gave him. As-Sadiq, he's the truthful one. We can trust anything he says. The trustworthy one. Okay, so if he's saying something, it's got to be big. Let's get over there. Oh, and when they get there, what happened? He said, if I told you behind me is a tribe that's coming to fight us, you know, an army is over here and they're coming at us, would you believe me? They said, yeah, you never lied ever. Go get the sword, son. We're ready to go. He said, then I bear witness to you that there's only one deity, one God, worthy of any worship. And I'm his messenger to you. And right away, they understood exactly what he said. He was telling them, you have to give up this filthy habit of worshiping these statues and idols. Give up these false notions, you know, the things that people worship other than Allah. In other words, we have a bumper sticker that says it. Worship the Creator, not his creations. And they rejected it. For the most part, almost everybody there rejected the message on the spot. And they're his own relatives. Some of his own uncles turned against him and even cursed him for bringing this message the way that he did. They didn't like that because he hit home. And some of the things that they did, to follow up on that story a little bit, you know that they posted people at the entrances to the valley where they lived, just in case these folks would be coming from out of town to come to worship there. This is a center of worship in those days. Still is today for us, isn't it? And these people would be coming, and when they come through those passages in the mountains, they'd find somebody there telling them, warn them, be careful. When you get there, be careful of this guy, Muhammad. He's a magician, or he's a soothsayer. Maybe he's going to work on your brain. He's going to implant notions in your mind. Be careful, be careful. Warning against him, yeah? Magician, poet, different names that they tried to attribute to him. But above all, they wanted people to disbelieve in his message. But what hit me a few weeks ago when I was thinking about this, of all the things that they did and said to him for that first 10 years, you remember how hard those first 10, 12 years were, really tough on him. Of all the things that they said and did, I don't recall them ever being called terrorists. You know why? Because they were the brunt of the attacks. They were the ones who were being put upon. They were the ones who were being attacked by everybody else. So it'd be kind of hard to label these guys as terrorists after you kick them and leave them in the dirt, you know. But this is the label that we've got today around the world. And the Sharia, that word, ooh. At the same time, in Tennessee, when they're trying to pass the law, by the way, they didn't get it through. They had to change the wording. Instead of saying Sharia, they changed the word to terrorism, as though those were interchangeable words. At the same time that was going on, did you know there was a group in Australia, a group of Muslims, trying to pass something there about Muslims should follow a kind of Sharia that's more modern or modified to suit the rulers of the time in their area. What does that mean? What you and I face as Muslims is a lack of proper knowledge, and then that which is being put out being very twisted. And oftentimes things that are being represented as Islam that has nothing to do with Islam or opposes Islam. So what we can do about this? Because I learned a long time ago in business, you never present a problem unless you're prepared to offer a solution for it. Because otherwise there's no benefit in your talk. You either come up with something to solve it before you open your mouth, or keep your mouth closed. It's not exactly like the hadith, but there is a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ when he said, "Man kana yu'minu billahi wal yawmil akhir yaqulu khayr aw yasmut." Let the one that believes in Allah on the last day either say good or be quiet. Keep silent. And that's a good habit that I want to encourage myself to practice as well. And what we're saying here is that there is a problem, but immediately there is a solution. If we recognize the problem, then it should be that the problem will help us solve it. What do we recognize? Well, first of all, we recognize that we're Muslims and we're scattered all over the world. We're not just here in Dubai. We're not just here in the Arabian Peninsula. We're not just in Turkey and Pakistan. But in fact, Muslims are all over the entire world. For the past few years, we have traveled. I'm talking about myself and the brothers working with me on the Guide Us TV project. We have traveled all the way from the northernmost part of the world, Tromsø, Norway, the most northern masjid in the world, to the most southern masjid in the world. We visited to New Zealand and Australia and to South Africa. And these masajid and everything in between have the same common thing. You know what it is? It's the worship of one God, asking Him to give us the guidance. It sounds pretty simple. The complication always comes in is how people interpret that. And those who have the least amount of knowledge oftentimes want to make the most noise about it. This is why it's critical for us, all of us, to take the responsibility to have facilities that provide the correct knowledge to people who we feel can really assimilate it and get it out to the other people. In other words, no more homegrown imams, guys that just jump up one day and, hey, I had a revelation. I saw that in Christianity a lot. Guys make up their own religions and go out, break off from the mainstream, and suddenly they feel like they're going to give you a new message. Like the guy who just told us the end of the world was going to be last week. Even saying that's funny, the end of the world was last week. Well, then where are we at right now? Make you wonder, doesn't it? And what's really sad about it is, according to the monotheistic religions, we're talking about Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, all of us agree that if we follow our book anyway, that for sure there will be a day of reckoning. There is going to be a last day. But in the meantime, there's going to be a lot of wars and rumors of wars. There's going to be a lot of liars out there, a lot of false prophets making a lot of weird predictions. And this is what we keep seeing again and again. So that when the real Jesus is here, peace be upon Him, then very few people are going to be able to recognize this from all the lies and all the twisted thinking. And our sincerest desire is to join with Jews, Christians, and Muslims on the day that Jesus comes and be real believers. We hope Allah will guide all of us. This is a beautiful message. But when is it going to get out to the West? Alhamdulillah, you know how happy it makes me feel to be here. To be able to say these things and know it's getting out here. We just wish it would like trickle over. And this is why we opened the television channel. Now on the first day of this year, January 1st, Allah blessed us with our own satellite. We are now broadcasting 24 hours a day the message of La ilaha illallah with some very good teachers and preachers and presenters of Islam. I didn't do anything. Allah did it. So we'll say Allahu Akbar. He did it. I prayed for it. That's about really all I can claim. And a lot of brothers and sisters sacrificed to make it happen. But look how much more blessing came. Without me doing anything. I didn't do it. They sent it to me in a statement from the other broadcasters that we were picked up by 2 other satellites, and now we're on 3 satellites and we're not even 6 months old. That is something to be happy about. So instead of just 50, 60,000, now over 200,000, yeah, 200,000 homes are watching the channel right now while I'm sitting here. Imagine that. And we didn't do anything extra except more dua. One of the things that we did when we started it was we said we have to focus on what real Islam is in the English language. So our motto is presenting true Islam in simple English. Making sure our presenters are able to discuss in English as simple as they would in any other language. Being sure that they had a good foundation and well grounded in what the real basics of Islam teach, not in things that may have been picked up by traditions or cultures in other countries and so on. Of course, that narrowed the number of people that you could talk to, you know what I'm saying, really quick. But some of you have probably seen it. We have speakers who have been with us for a while and some new ones that we're training at the same time. But we realized something else. We realized that if we charge money to subscribe to it, the only people who are going to watch are the ones who already believe it. Make sense? I mean, you know, why would somebody who hates Islam, scared of Islam, afraid of Islam, want to even pay $15 a month to subscribe to a channel, an extra channel, you know, that they're getting on the cable or the dish? Why would they want to pay any extra money? I'll give you extra money if you get them to leave. So we said, no, we're not going to charge any subscription. Okay. Now right away, the broadcasters, I'm talking about the satellite owners, are saying, so how are you going to pay us? What kind of commercials are you going to be running on there? And how often, how many minutes of commercials are you going to run every 59 minutes and 59 seconds? Because that's how they balance it out. And when I said, no, I don't want any commercials. Why? Well, commercials could compromise the message. Think about it. Somebody comes to you and says, look here, our company, we distribute, let's say, meat, all across the United States. And we don't want you talking about what's halal and haram in the meat business. Just leave it alone. Oops, now what? And any speaker you get on there, you edit out. If he brings up the subject of the biha, cut this guy out. Then what would you do? Even if I hold an opposing view, we can't even open the discussion. Because you lose a major sponsor. Somebody that's advertising, maybe doing $400,000 or $500,000 a month in advertising, and you're going to just tell him, hey, take a walk? Uh-oh. And what about some of the other areas? Clothing, for instance, that could be a big problem. Makeup. Well, we just talked about what the cosmetic industry has done to the ladies. And then on top of that, consider one of the biggest subjects of all, and you guys are familiar with it here, finance. What's the subject of finance in Islam? Come on, guys. So, for us, we said, I want other channels, by the way. I want Muslim channels all over America, I do. And if they want to take advertising subscriptions, I hope they do. Because they have to have funding to keep going. But for us, the new Muslims who've come to Islam and realize the importance of the pure message of Islam, has to get to the people. For us, no subscriptions, no advertising. So that's what we came up with so far. It's not easy, because the third option, and this is an option they sent us from the satellite company when we started. Number one, subscriptions. Number two, advertisers. Number three, and it was a very sarcastic, deep pockets. That's what it said. And I felt like, well, maybe we don't have deep pockets, but we have a lot of pockets. And we began talking to so many of the brothers and sisters across America, United States and Canada. And do you know what? Within 1 year, from the little $20, $30 donations, one little boy donates $1 every month. Yeah. But from that, we were able to get started. Believe it or not. And you might think, well, I didn't think Muslims would really follow through. Neither did I. Especially because I tried for 6 years before that and didn't see anything. It wasn't until we went to the hadith of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Keep in mind, I told you when I started, that every single thing that you want to find an answer to is in Islam. The problem is we don't look enough. That's the problem. But there's a hadith, the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the meaning of it in English, when he said that Allah, Almighty God, the creator and sustainer of the universe, He loves the thing, so much charity and good deeds. He loves the thing which is done regularly, even if it's small, more than the thing which is big, but it's only done once. And I said, let me try that. I've tried everything else. And so we started talking about this hadith and pushing it and asking the brothers, whatever you do, just be sure you do it regularly, because Allah will bless us. And they did, and Allah did, and we got to Jannah. So my message really for you today is, if you want to solve this problem of the chaos that we see around us every day, go back to your Lord. Go back to the one that created you in the first place. And start like I did 20 years ago when I put my head on the ground and said those magic words. Guide me. And we say it every day in our salat, don't we? Ihdina. Ihdina siratul mustaqim. Guide us. Guide us. Guide us. And by the way, that's why we named it Guide Us TV. Some people said we called it Guide US TV. Jazakumullah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Me again. All right. Sheikh Yusuf.
He's kind of cute, isn't he?
But you're cuter. So again, back to the format. There's 3 mics. One from the right, center, left. Now, it's a
Are we
requirement.
going to do question and answers? Huh?
Yes?
Okay, can they just like give me the answers and I'll guess what the question was? No, they do it on Jeopardy. You win trips and stuff like that. No? Okay, was that worth it? Yeah.
Please, brothers and sisters, respected guests, turn off your cell phones. I think we mentioned that. Just
Can I leave mine on in case I want to do like a shout out or something?
Hello, Mom.
Yeah, like that.
Definitely. You're the boss.
I was also wondering something else too, if you guys don't mind, because this is going to be on television come Sunday. How many of you knew that? This is going to be on TV. So if you don't mind, please make the questions real easy. And if I look like I'm getting stuck, you know, just kind of like help me along.
All right, yeah, so turn off your cell phones. Basic. Keep questions on topic. No hard questions. Easy questions.
Well, while you guys are getting your ideas together, can I tell you what one of the most common questions is? Most people will ask me, how did you get to Islam? And some will be even more pointed than that. When I come up against a real hard-shell Bible-thumping Christian, he'll say, why did you turn your back on Jesus? You know, well, to put your mind at ease, folks, number one, I don't think I turned my back on anything. I tried to look even more forward. The review that I did of my Bible encouraged me more and more and more to look at this subject of what Islam was teaching, because I wanted to disprove Islam. And certainly I felt like I'd be able to find more mistakes in the Quran than I ever found in my Bible. But actually the opposite was true. What I found in the Bible that matched up perfectly with what is being taught in the Quran. That Jesus never claimed to be a God. In fact, what I saw a clear claim that he said he was a servant of God. The word servant is in my translation of the Bible. That he is God's servant. Or in Arabic, abd. Or abd. Well, I could ask the Muslims here, how many Muslims here, number one, you believe in the God of Adam and Abraham? Raise your hand. Okay, that looks pretty much like all of us. If we carry it a little bit further, and also believe in the God of Moses and the 10 commandments, or all the commandments that came with Moses. Again, there we go. Hope this guy's catching all that up there on this. We call that the crane, right? They call this the crane. And we don't have one. I just take a real long tripod and swing it around in my hand, make it look like it. Yeah. Anyway, how about if I said, how many here actually believe in the miracle birth that Mary had, and when she had a baby, she's not having any husband and no man touches her, miracle birth of Jesus, and believe that Jesus is the Kalimatullah, the word of Allah, He's the Messiah or Messiah, and that He's going to be back in the last days? Raise your hand. Whoa, okay. And that's what most Christians don't know. They don't know that. Now, all you need to do, don't forget, nobody's going to hear you but me, so you need to go to the microphone. If you have an elbow, a brother has a question. Go ahead, brother.
Assalamu alaikum. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. My name is Cassiano. I am converted 4 years ago to Islam.
May Allah accept from you, Ameen.
Inshallah, alhamdulillah.
Jazakallah khair.
My question is about the chaos today, because
about
the chaos, the chaotic world is we know in Apocalypse and in the Bible and in the Quran have many topics talking about the end of the world and everything. So we feel, honestly, it started. It's already happening. So it's natural. It's normal. What is happening now in the world is normal. It's something like we are waiting for this. So we know something really bad will happen.
Claro.
So everything what's happening in Pakistan and everywhere is normal. It's something natural. That's my question. If it's something completely natural, you need to just accept.
Verdad. Es claro. It's clear. Yeah. Hablas.
Okay.
See?
Thank you so much.
Jazakallah khair. I was just saying in Spanish, it's clear what his question is. I want to ask you, how many of you knew that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was questioned in a similar manner when the angel Jibril or Gabriel came to him? One of the questions he asked, when is the hour? Translating to common English today, when's the last day? When's it all going to be over with? When is the hour? How many of you heard about that question? Heard about it? Yeah. And what was the answer? Did he say it's going to be on the 21st of May 2000? No, that was somebody else, wasn't it? No, actually he said the one being asked doesn't know any more than the one asking. Meaning you don't know and I don't know. But the signs. And this is one of the most famous of all of the hadith or sayings of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. It's called the Hadith of Jibril. And here is something amazing, these two signs. The first sign is talking about when a woman is giving birth to her own master. Now when in the world could you imagine it could happen that children are treating their own parents like slaves? Yet, I was just in New York a few weeks ago at our new studios there, and I was amazed at the way the youth treat their parents. And then it hit me, that describes exactly. Today, even when a child is in elementary, the primary school, they're already talking back to their parents, telling them things like, shut up, to their parents. What are you going to do about it? You can't make me. This attitude. And then as they get older as teens, get out of my face. And disappear. Don't come back for a couple days. And when they do come back, bad attitude. And then when they're maybe at the age of college or something like that, and I heard one say, I'm 18 years old now. I've had it with you. I've put up with you all my life. This is a child talking to the mother? I've had it with you? Who carried the child inside of her? Who's the one that gave birth in pain after pain after pain? Who's the one that nursed that child from her own breast? Who is the one that taught the child to walk and talk, to have what we call the mother tongue, coming from the mother, teaching the child how to speak? And let's don't even get into the changing the diapers and staying up all night long. By the way, that's women's work, right? Not according to Islam, no. Look at this. And then, when the parents get old, who says, oh, and I've seen it happen in our own family. Who is the one that says, oh, I want the parents to come stay with me. I want the reward. I want the reward from the Lord. I want that. No. No. The question becomes, who's going to help divvy up the payment so we can put them in the old folks' home? You got to pay your share. No, I don't want to. I put up with them all those years. I don't need them. And then when they die, the immediate thing, actually just before they die, when the doctor comes to them, I heard the doctor say this to some people, that your father has now reached a level, his quality of life is just not there. He doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know what he's doing. So if he should need life support, do you want us to give it to him or just let it go? And if they said, yeah, just let it go. We don't want to waste the money, you know. What is that? And then when he dies, are they rushing in to take care of the body and be sure it's buried properly? Or they can't wait to read the will and immediately contest it because they didn't feel like they got enough? Yeah, I saw it. To a very sweet old lady. So sweet. She used to cook for them. Even when she was old, living as a widow by herself, they would go over to her house on Sunday, let her do all the cooking and washing and cleaning, and then disregard her until Mother's Day. And then they would bring some roses, some chocolate candy, and that was it. That sounds like slavery to me. What do you think? But this is the one that really got me. The second sign that the Prophet ﷺ talked about. When he said, when the poor Arab living in the desert, you know, we call them Bedouin, when they are competing with each other to build tall buildings in the desert. And I heard that that's happening somewhere. I don't have solid evidence, but I've heard it. Amazing? He predicted it. When I was in Saudi a couple years ago, I was standing right by a building, had the name of one family on it. And they were telling me, you know, everything's for lease, it's empty. It was a real tall building. And there was another building going across the street. They were constructing it with all the cranes and everything going. Had the name of another family on it. And it happened, this one was related to the family or something. And I said, this building's empty. Yeah, I can't find anybody to put in it. So why are you building this one? I said, so it'll be taller. That's it? Yeah. So you'll have a taller empty building than they have. And these are signs of the last days. And we're sitting here laughing. What's really interesting is some of the other hadiths. Sheikh McCarthy with us right now, he probably knows a lot more about it than I do. But for sure, some of the other hadiths that I've read about the last days and the signs are even as amazing. Like when you will be trying to communicate with the animals of the sea. And you watch them talking to the dolphins. Have you seen those programs? And they're hooking up with the beep, 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 beep. Da-da, da-da. What did he say? Oh, talk to the dolphin. These are the same people that won't talk to their mother on Mother's Day. Talk to a fish. And in the same hadith, it mentions that your extremities would talk to you. Like you hold something in your hand, you're talking to... Hold on, let me take this call and I'll be right back. What did you say? And then it says, and your side will inform you of what's happening in your house even though you're away. You know those pagers that tell you what's going on? Don't forget to bring home a loaf of bread or... Yeah. This is 1400 years ago, before they even had electricity. Huh? So many predictions. And we're not talking about looking for it in the future. We're talking about in the past tense. How many years ago did those come? So how close is this last day? Now, it was an excellent question, but the one being asked doesn't know any more than the one who was asking. Do we have another question?
We'll take a question from the middle, from the sisters right now.
Oh, there's sisters up here. Okay.
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. They got a lot of lights in my eyes. I can't see up there.
Just before you start, sister. Sorry.
I've just got a quick question about the sign that you mentioned, and I've seen it in the Quran in the translation. Sorry, the extra bit. What I saw was in the English translation, so I'm not sure the exact words that the Prophet used, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So what I read was the shepherds of the red camels who will compete against building the tallest buildings, to that effect. So I was having this conversation.
Probably the same one. Somebody chose different words to say the same thing.
Okay, so the conversation that I had with someone was basically he said, it didn't say Arabs. What do they mean by shepherds of red camels? It doesn't say the word Arabs. And the claim was that we twist the words to suit our needs. It didn't say Arabs, but we'll make it sound like it said something that's applicable today. I'd like to hear your comments on that.
Yeah, it'd be a good idea to... Do you know the Arabic language, sister?
No, I don't, unfortunately.
Okay, first thing you want to do, I have a website for all of you who'd like to know the Arabic language. It's called ArabicInEnglish.com. You can go there and check it out and see how we begin right from the very beginning, showing you how to use the English language to learn the Arabic. You don't have to know Arabic to learn Arabic. You can just start out right away. That's number one. The second thing is that you are right in what you said, that people will interpret something. And the word Bedouin, it very clearly defines the people of the desert. This is not used anywhere else. And when the word Arab is used, it's clear that you mean Arab. So all you have to do is just take the hadith and just read it in Arabic and you'll hear the words for yourself. I think that's the best way to answer your question.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sister.
Take a question from the left side. Brother, please.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh Yusuf. My name is Faisal. I'm from Malaysia. First of all, I would like to send the greetings and regards from my children. They're a big fan of yours. Unfortunately, they cannot come today. But anyway, we always watch your programs on YouTube and on the internet quite frequently. And the question that my children or my wife keep on asking me, I mean, why, what makes you choose Islam? I mean, what attracts you to Islam to begin with? I mean, it's probably a long time ago, yeah? Jazakallah khair.
Thank you, Faisal. We appreciate that very much. And tell everybody back in Malaysia, big salam from us. And I was in Malaysia only once. And while I was there, I had some of the best treatment you could ever even imagine. It was really great. And my daughter was with me over there too. We had a great time. We did.
Alhamdulillah.
I like the way too that again, this is a Muslim country that's not so closed-minded, you know, to shut down everything, just give everybody a chance. Because while we were there, we found that the Muslims and Christians living beside each other in a very nice way. That was appreciated. And even some commercial things that we found from back home while we were in Malaysia. I got to eat at Bubba Gump's shrimp and more, yeah, you know, alhamdulillah. But the question about me coming to Islam really isn't the topic today, so if I could, I'd just like to refer to it briefly and tell you where you can get the whole story, if that's okay. Because it takes approximately 47 minutes if I leave out some of the best jokes. I think that if I had to narrow it down to one thing, what was the most influential thing to me would be proof. Because the question comes like this to me: what do you have in your religion that I don't have? Because if your religion is better than mine, I will leave mine and go to yours. That's what I was told by the Muslim I was trying to convert. I was trying to convert a Muslim to go to Christianity. Now when he said that, I said, got him. This guy's on the hook. Reel him in. Because, number one, you don't have to pray 5 times a day to be a Christian. Number two, you don't have to fast the whole month. In fact, you don't have to fast at all. 3, you don't have to pay zakah. What's that? And you don't have to make a pilgrimage anywhere to be a Christian. It's just what you believe. That's it. That's it. And then he finished the sentence. He said, I'll go to your religion if it's better than my religion. But you need proof. I'm like, proof? No. Religion's about faith, brother. It's not about proof. Faith. He said, in Islam, we have faith, but we have proof. Without thinking of what I was saying, I looked at him right now and I said, you mean to sit there and tell me, as a Muslim, you can prove there's God? He said, do you mean to sit there and tell me as a preacher for Christianity that you can't? Now, there are Christian scientists that offer very good evidences. I just wasn't one of them. So don't get the idea that there's no proof in monotheism, because it definitely is. But it was something that really woke me up. The proofs that you find in the Old Testament, New Testament, that God exists are very much supported by and augmented by the Quran and what's been revealed with it as well. In fact, in the many years that I studied the 2 books side by side, almost 2.5 years, I can honestly say that there's nothing in the Bible that contradicts the teachings of the Quran, except where the Bible contradicts itself. And from that, I was able to realize that now all I got to do is prove some mistakes in the Quran, and I got it made. So I started reading it. As I went through it, I kept seeing more and more things that I liked, but I kept pushing to find out something in here that's going to be contradictory. It has to be. There has to be. This is a man-made book. That was my mind anyway at the time. So there's going to be a mistake. Couldn't find it. Went all the way through back to about the 20, I'm going to guess it was about the 26th, 27th juz of the Quran. And when I got back there, I realized, hey, this is not going like I thought it would. And then I came across the verse that said, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. And then it hit me. I said, well, what else in the world would you say about the monotheistic faith if it isn't that statement? And Allah said, the meaning in English, that He did not create the jinn and mankind except for worship. The worship of one God without any partners. No images, no statues, no vainglorious statements. Just believe in God and obey His commandments. What was the biggest problem that I faced was myself. I never wanted to admit I was wrong. It was a problem that I had when I was in business. I didn't like to admit that. It was a problem I had in my family life. I didn't like to admit when I was wrong. That's a hard thing for some people to say, I was wrong, I made a mistake. But that was a real turning point in my life, because if I didn't do it, I realized then I'm going to continue in this same mess. So that was the hardest thing. But once I put my head on the ground in the same direction I'd been watching this Muslim pray for 3 months. And I really opened my mind and my heart, and I just said it like this: God, guide me. And when I raised up my head, I knew it. There really is God. And it's not about outside effects. It's about the inside. And it might even answer our question for today about the chaos. Because we look around us and, oh, look at that problem over there, this problem over there, when's the end of the world? Oh, who's burning the Quran? Somebody did this over there. Why? But we don't want to look inside and see where we're wrong. We don't want to really admit to our mistakes. We don't really want to deal with the fact I'm wrong. Because when a person says the Shahada, they are negating any other form of worship, devotion, commitment of the heart, because you're giving it all to the Lord above.